But other than that, I don't know why the two-parters. I like two-parters. I like that sort of, you know, that extended arc sort of thing.
One went into three, I remember, too. One went into...
That's right. One went into three, you're right. Yes, Ms. Hannah.
Your relationship with Odo, your relationship as a kind of mutual learning situation, what do you think that Garrick has to learn from Odo, and what do you think Garrick has to teach Odo?
What is the relationship, the new relationship that Garrick has to Odo? What's the exchange in that relationship? I've spoken of the exchange in the relationship between Garrick and Bashir. You think of the two loneliest guys in the station. I talked about the two, you know, politically at poles with each other, diametrically opposed with each other. Who are the two loneliest people in the station? Garrick and Odo. Who are the two people who are the most estranged, who are exiled, so to speak? Garrick and Odo. And I think in that sense so far, because we've only had what we saw in the two-parter, and there is a brief scene where they're having breakfast together, this wonderful scene where Odo has a cup in his hand, and basically he's explaining to Garrick that he doesn't drink, this isn't a real cup, this isn't real liquid, this is an extension of his arm. Because he's doing this to be courteous, so that it looks like he is drinking. Because he doesn't want to just sit there with nothing in front of him. So he holds out his arm, and this cup appears, and he pretends to sip from it. And what I love about the way Renee is playing him, he's very self-satisfied. He thinks that's very clever, and so forth. But basically, I think it's two lonely guys. Two lonely guys trying to, like, you know, help each other out. Because they found out. See, the beauty of that two-parter was when they discovered, in the middle of this torture scene, Garrick realizes, oh, this guy is as strange as I am. He's as exiled as I am. He's as lonely as I am. He has no allegiances. Nobody has allegiances to him. Now, you know, we're both in the same boat. It's the recognition he makes, which is, you see, if you think of it, it comes right out of what he's learned from Bashir. For the first time, Garrick now is exercising empathy. It's a foreign feeling to him, empathy. That's what's amazing. And there are a lot of us where empathy and compassion is a foreign feeling, which is why we're in so much trouble. Oh, look out, folks. He's getting on his horse. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I think about that relationship. Oh, you go on. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know how old is Garrick supposed to be?
Garrick is 372 years, 6 months, and 17 days. I don't know. I assume he's my age, which I will never admit. Even under torture. Even if Garrick were torturing me, I would never admit it. So I claim as my age. But I don't know what if Cardassians have a different sort of, like, you know, 1 year for us is 5 years for Cardassians. And so that Garrick may be 20 years old, which would make him... No, him. He takes math. No, she's cueing him. All right. Never mind. I'll come to you at the end of the session, you know. Yes, ma'am.
Garrick dearly loves the game of politics.
He does dearly love the game.
What other sports and games does he like? You see fencing with the car, you see tennis with the ship. What other games and sports?
Yeah, he's a good tennis player, turns out. Like this, you know. What other games does he like? I think he can play any game that's ever been created. And I think he loves to win. He plays every game, he plays extremely well, and he plays to win. He does not like losing. He's a bad loser. He is a foul loser. So he plays to win. He'll smile, but he plays to beat you. So he plays every kind of game there is. Yeah, it's a good question, and I've been thinking about that recently. Yes, sir.
In the last two-parter, there was this woman who Garrick seemed to show a lot of affection for.
Yes.
Housekeeper.
Now Brentane. In the two-parter, excuse me, Garrick, when he was trying to locate Inabrintain, when he thought Inabrintain was in danger, he located Inabrintain's housekeeper. Yeah, tell that to the Marines. And basically, you know, and in the episode, I chose to play Garrick with a lot of feeling towards this woman. And it was something that was my invention, basically. I created this whole thing with this woman, just so it wasn't, you know, like pressing the television button, she coming on and saying, "Where's Payne?" "I don't know, he's in trouble." "Okay, thanks a lot, Mila." Boom. And basically trying to find out what, you know, again, it's building that backstory, building the history of the character. Because all these people, he's dying to go back to Cardassia. We all know that. He's miserable on Deep Space Nine. He has lots of connections there, so he must have connections to people. So I figured this is the one time when I could show one of those emotional connections that he so desperately misses. Yes, sir.
I like to remember you from the garage. You did a fine job.
Thank you.
And I like your comparison about how Deep Space Nine is not, you know, like Next Generation when a ship traveling. It's more like Dodge City.
That's right.
Next Generation is like wagon train.
All right. Wagon train opposed to Dodge City. Good.
I have a question about the episode where it's the ship's birthday, and it was an alien, and you turned an alien disguised as Garrick, and you turned out to be the villain.
Yeah.
Like, we used to having this relationship with Bashir. I'd like the idea of turning it around and playing the villain.
Yeah, in the episode where Bashir has his 30th birthday and freaks out and gets his head knocked up against the console by the Lethian and then goes on this hallucinogenic trip in which Garrick plays the Lethian in disguise, and I love that stuff. You see, I enjoy that stuff. I mean, I don't like very much the crossover universe because, you know, anybody who knows my history with film from Dirty Harry knows that I can play those guys with my eyes closed and half asleep and, you know, and so forth. Playing those Nazi types doesn't interest me anymore. But to play people with devious agendas, which I felt that the Garrick, you know, the Lethian disguised as Garrick, it gets complicated, and it's fun when it's complicated. It's when it's dead on, you know, you're hitting the nail right on the head, that's when it's not interesting.
Do you ever see a conversation between Garrick and Kira?
Oh yeah, the question is, do I ever see a competition between Garrick and Kira? I certainly do, and I hope it does come. I hope it does come, because she's such a strong actress, and she's such a strong character. It would be a wonderful confrontation, but it would be a different kind of confrontation, because Garrick is a sexist, you must remember, and that Garrick would never confront her the way he would confront a man, and I would love to show that too. That would be a lot of fun. Yes, ma'am.
How much of Garrick's psyche is really involved in being a tailor?
Oh, how much of Garrick's psyche is really involved with being a tailor? See, Garrick, come back to your question, Garrick is so clever, so smart, he's brilliant. And I love playing brilliant people. It's the same thing about me being a bad liar. I love to play somebody who's a good liar. Someone who's not brilliant, playing a brilliant person. It's fun. Doing something that's a stretch for you. And so Garrick, I'm writing this thing now. I'm writing this thing that I'm going to read at future conventions. And it's going to be a memoir, a journal that Garrick keeps. It's called, I think, Silence, Exile, and Cunning, Memoirs of a Cardassian Tailor. And I've written some of it already. And one of the things I wrote is how Garrick went about learning how to be a tailor. It was very quick, because he's so smart. For circumstances, he had to be a tailor, so he learned how to be a tailor. But in terms of being in it, his heart is not in it. And as he said to Odo at the end of that two-parter last year, he says, you know, Odo says he's looking around his shop that's blown up, thinking, what am I going to do now? And Odo says, listen, fix the shop up, be a tailor, the station needs a tailor, otherwise, you know, Quark's going to put in a topless dance bar, you know, or worse. And then, do you remember what Garrett says? He says, you know what the sad part is, Odo? I'm a very good tailor. And he is, because he's a Cardassian. So all those things that he brought to the spy profession, to the Obsidian Order, precision, the precision of measurement, the patience, those are very good qualities for a tailor. So he's a great tailor, but I don't think it's hard to do. Yes, ma'am.
What's the relationship with Cisco, and do you feel that his character can be changed?
Cisco doesn't have Garrett necessarily pegged. He does in the sense that he wouldn't trust him as far as it fit, which is the right, any smart person would have that attitude towards Garrett. Because Garrett will deceive you, just as a matter of course. Will lie to you, will dissemble, will turn you inside out, and you must never trust a person like Garrett. And as I said yesterday, Garrett is the kind of person that when you talk to him, you must always look in his eyes. Because the moment you look away from his eyes, what you're left with is this very soothing voice, saying very nice things. And he'll get whatever he wants out of you because he knows how to use that voice. And if you're not looking at his eyes, because you're going to look in his eyes. That's right. Never let him out of your sight. It's like a snake, you know? You got a snake, you know, you just don't pick up a snake. Ew, a snake! You grab the snake and you hold it tight. All right. I'd like to say, by the way, that Patty and, what is your name? Wanda are amazing. This is so admirable. They are truly amazing. I'd also like to say that because, you know, my experience is I do a lot of work like the other guys for charities. And the two charities I try to work for are Amnesty International and Save the Children. And I got to tell you, yesterday, it really came home to me with amazing force why I work for these two charities. Amnesty International, I think of all those people I looked at who were detained and who were murdered, and no one ever knew their names. And the children, and that's the thing that got me in the Holocaust Museum when I went into the children's room, and they had this wall of children's pictures, and it's called the Wall of Lost Children. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, these are not the lost boys from Peter Pan. These children will never appear in Peter Pan. And I realized why those two charities go together for me. People are selling pictures of Sid and I for Amnesty International. Anything that Sid and I sell in terms of pictures do not go into our pocket. They go to these charities. So I just want to let you know that. And I think I've got, thank you. And I think I've got one more question, and sir?
I want to ask that guy's question about how old Star Trek is. I believe it's 33 years old.
Star Trek is 33 years old. I didn't know that either, thanks. One more question. Does anybody have another question? Yes, ma'am. Oh, you were wondering if Garrett has a humorous side to him? Oh man, I haven't been doing my job. Garrett, does anybody think he doesn't have a sense of humor? No, I'm not asking for approbation. But does anybody think he doesn't have a sense of humor? No. Oh, no, Garrett, I mean, could stand up with Bob Hope. I mean, you know, he could hold his own. I mean, anybody who interprets the boy that cried wolf as never tell the same lie twice. I mean, that guy is certified. He could be in the comedy club, I mean, as far as I'm concerned. Listen, you're really gentle people. I thank you very much for coming. God bless and good luck.